Given that 2018 may very well be the year where the former TNA tries to finally shed its former skin and start anew properly, I think it's only fair we remember the old times. Those times where Total Nonstop Action, which I still can't believe was its actual name, looked at its major port of competition and thought to themselves, hey, we could do that. So let's just do exactly that. Unfortunately, that's never really a good idea, even if imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. Most wrestling fans are going to see through it, and you're going to be left licking your wounds, which is kind of what happened. I'm Simon from What Culture. This is 8 times TNA tried to be WWE. Number 8, Abyss is Mankind and KANE. Now I like Abyss, truly I do. It was a cool character, but to pretend it had any sense of originality, well, it didn't. For starters, there was the obvious inspiration, which was, of course, KANE. It helped that both Glenn Jacobs and Chris Parks were massive, but then they each wore masks, were more or less mute, and had a serial killer-like vibe to them. And again, that's great. Come on. TNA did see fit to evolve the character, but before long that morphed into a version of Mankind, damaged as a child that wore with his own personality, capable of performing crazy acts of violence. Abyss even brought in a nailed 2x4 when all was said and done and gave it a name. It's called Janice. And remember what Mankind used to do with his barbed wire baseball bat? That's right, he named it Barbie. This was so in your face, it almost hurt. Number 7, OVW was TNA's developmental territory. Again, this wasn't necessarily a bad thing. Given some of the talent that came out of OVW, it probably was smart on TNA's behalf. However, when you do consider that Ohio Valley Wrestling had an almost decade-long relationship with the WWE as its developmental territory, well, all this is a bit weird. So when in 2008 that came to an end, it only took till 2011 when TNA thought they could make an agreement with OVW to train up brand new wrestlers. Exactly what they did. The really weird thing about this is that TNA didn't really need something like this at the time. They weren't massive, but the reason for it did seem to be to try and get some of that WWE magic to rub off, when really scouting the current indie scene would have probably been more profitable all round. It all ended within 2 years, as I think everyone involved realised this. It was all very strange though. Number 6, the Attitude Era's signature sound. American musician Chris Warren was responsible for one of the most recognisable aspects of WWF television program over the course of the Attitude Era. This dude was the distinctive voice of what became referred to as the DX Band. Over a period of 2 years, Warren provided vocals to the DX theme, Triple H's entrance song My Time, and even sang the Star Spangled Banner at WrestleMania 14. However, that performance was so badly panned, it's been edited out of all broadcasts of the show since. Whoops. In short, he was up the wazoo with the WWE until, as all things do, it came to an end, and then TNA signed Warren's band Broke into a deal to use their music at upcoming events. Over the next 2 years, 3 of their songs, Low, For the Vain and Separate, were used, and it was yet more evidence of TNA just desperately trying to follow in WWE's shadow. Do your own thing, for goodness sake. Number 5, their own Katie Vick. This one was just ridiculous. For starters, no one should be trying to rip off anything that happened with Katie Vick, one of the lowest points WWE has ever gone through. Fake humping of dead people is not high on anyone's must-see list unless they're proper screwed up. Then, for reasons we will never know, TNA decided to have AJ Styles confronted by a woman from his past that claimed to be carrying his baby. It transpired that this lady, named Claire Lynch, was a junkie and Styles' ex-girlfriend, and that, if her baby was his at all, it was because she'd violated him while he was asleep. Right. To make it all worse, much like WWE's Triple H backstage sex segment, TNA had Claire produce photographs of herself posing next to Styles' unconscious body. AJ clearly hated all of this and kind of grimaced through it, and the whole thing was so awkward and bad. Still gives me nightmares. Number 4, Feast or Fired. Let's be fair, everything in wrestling is ripped off really. There's not that many new ideas. However, when things happen very close together, or at least after one important event, you have to at the very least raise an eyebrow. This is why when in 2005 WWE created the Money in the Bank idea and it caught on fire, TNA decided to pretty much do the exact same thing in 2007, and they called it Feast or Fired. It was far more convoluted than WWE's idea too, as there were 4 briefcases, and while 3 contained title shots, 1 had a pink slip. Got fired. Not one to shy away, however, TNA still used the phrase cashing in even though there were no words about money in the name of the match. Because, you know, to be WWE. Number 3, Sting's return. In 2011, WWE ran a series of videos depicting a mysterious figure in a long back coat, walking in a sinister fashion through the rain, and concluding with a date appearing on the screen in flaming text, and that date was February 21st, 2011. Naturally, it referred to The Undertaker's return for upcoming WrestleMania storylines, which that year involved a challenge from Triple H. It was all very well done. Literally only 1 week later though, TNA broadcast a vignette showing a mysterious figure in a long back coat walking in a sinister fashion through the rain, and concluding with a date appearing on the screen in flaming text, and that date was March the 3rd, 2011. If you watch these today, my gosh, talk about TNA not giving two hoots. They straight off did the same thing. The more ludicrous aspect was that at one point the WWE version was rumoured to be leading to a reveal of Sting in the company. As it turned out, TNA already had that nailed down. Number 2, AJ Styles and CM Punk. 2 years after CM Punk made the wrestling world explode by leaving the WWE with the World Championship, TNA decided to do the same thing with AJ Styles. Now this was a good angle, so again, sure, why not, but it's hard not to see the similarities. Styles vented his frustrations with the company, yelled at owner Dixie Carter in work shoots, and basically did what he could to get the whole thing over as legit. Eventually that led to AJ winning the TNA title and he walked out, meaning the championship was probably vacated. Then 5 weeks later he came back in a title unification storyline. In that sense, this was done better after WWE hotshotted their version and had Punk come back only a week later, and Styles even defended his title in Mexico and Japan, which was just cool. Unfortunately, the rest of it was not as good, like most reruns. Number 1, Eric Young and Daniel Bryan. A year on from all this fracas with AJ Styles, TNA went to the WWE world once again and took underdog babyface Eric Young, transformed him into a fiery never say die contender for the TNA Championship, and all this happened right after Daniel Bryan won the title at WrestleMania 30. If you were going to do this, Young was a fine choice too. He was a popular but underappreciated performer, but he hadn't been at the level of Bryan in TNA until all of a sudden they decided to throw him into that position. Simply hadn't been main event material before this. It was quite a clear effort to take advantage of the popularity of Daniel Bryan, because this one came out of left field. There wasn't even many angles to build to it, it just happened. Young even won the thing on the same episode of free television that he got his title shot on. This was just too blatant to not be ignored, and as such, people just pointed at their TVs and screamed WWE, before probably tuning into WWE. Oh dear. Know of any other times that TNA tried to be WWE? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Then make sure you head on over to whatculture.com and read yourself some articles, and follow What Culture on Twitter at WhatCultureWWE. My name is Simon from What Culture, and I hope you have a lovely day.